Hello, beautiful tribe. Today we are going to be talking about the spiritual gift of clairempathy, the ability of clear emotion. Hi, my name is Bradley, and I am with Wildfire and Earth Reiki. I am a practicing shaman, reflexologist, and intuitive medium. Now, today we are going to continue our series on the Clair gifts, or the clear spiritual gifts that God gives each and every one of His children, and that we all innately are attached to. But just like different unique personalities and different talents, some of us have bigger strengths in certain gifts and weaknesses in certain gifts. Now, today's is going to be clairempathy. Clairempathy is all about clear emotion. Empathy, as you know, is the ability to place yourself in someone else's shoes. Literally, walk a mile in their shoes. That is what empathy means. It's very similar to sympathy. Except for sympathy always gets like a negative connotation, I think, because I think you get the idea that you're feeling sorry for someone or they are less than you. Empathy is the ability to relate. It is the ability to communicate with one another. And the biggest connection that I found with empathy is this picture right here. I believe that clairempathy is the ability to tune in and tap into the information from our inner selves. Empathy comes from within, but it's kind of counterintuitive because we are taking something that is outside of ourselves and bringing it into ourselves to understand it, to dissect it, to see how we are the same. Like on the flip side of empathy is, not understanding and not comprehending and judgment. That is the opposite of empathy. It's not hate, it's judgment and thinking that we're better than anyone else. Empathy allows us to literally tap into that person's life and their experience and know exactly how they feel. And it kind of blends back into clairsentience, where the clear feeling, but with clairempathy, it's deeper. It's a little bit different, and it's not so much a feeling. It's like almost the difference. I was reading a post by a friend that when you were reading tarot cards, there are two ways to do it. You can either do it intuitively or you can do it mystically. The mystical way is something outside of yourself comes in and talks to you. Intuitively is something from within yourself speaks outward. Okay? So clairsentience is kind of like the intuitive way. It's allowing you to speak. Empathy is something outside of yourself coming in and speaking to you. So you literally relate with someone's story. And that's the beautiful part about being human, is that we are hardwired to relate to others and actually care about how they feel and what they're going through. And if we just practiced more empathy in our world, we wouldn't have the wars, we wouldn't have the hate, we wouldn't have the prejudice, we wouldn't have the anger that we have. And it's just that so many people are talking and not enough people are listening. Clairempathy is the ability to listen and the ability to understand and comprehend what you are being told. And like, I am not a woman, but I can relate and understand women's, what they go through, the different conflicts they have to go through, the different stages of their life that they go through, the different prejudices they deal with, because of being a gay man in the South. I have withstood and walked through in their shoes very similar instances. Well, whereas my empathy was created by life experience, clairempathy comes through without any of that experience. So what makes clairempathy different from regular empathy? So like you hear people say, I'm an empath. etc., etc., etc. An empath is actually really clairsentient. What they're doing is they're picking up on the emotions of other people, and they are being able to place them in their shoes in an emotional way. Clairempathy is literally the ability to place yourself in someone else's experience. So that means you can literally go back and relive a bodily pain. You can be a medical surrogate for another person, meaning you actually feel what they are feeling internally, their organs, their discomfort, their anger, their emotions. And in a way, it's almost what a therapist tries to do when they're trying to talk to you and walk you through your own life. it's a tool. And so clairempathy gives you the ability to connect that much deeper. The clairempaths are kind of the healers and the go-getters of the psychic world. They very much feel a connection with other people, and they feel a duty, almost they're duty bound to make it better for other people, because they so deeply feel other people's pain and heartache. It is very hard for a clairempath to watch someone go through pain or watch someone fall. And what's I have found very interesting is with a lot of clairempaths, especially when we are younger, we put up walls and we create a hard shell because we are hurt. We are told that we're too sensitive, or we're told that it's not good for us to tap into those emotions because people don't always understand where those emotions are coming from. I mean, we might, but we're too young to communicate what is happening and to communicate what we're feeling. And so our body and systems literally overload. And so then we end up creating these shields and barriers from everyone. So sometimes the strongest clairempaths have actually completely disconnected themselves from their gifts because it hurts too much. And I can relate to that. Growing up, I was very sensitive. I was a little empath, and I was able to pick up on emotions and feelings even when people didn't want me to. And that's the ability of an empath, is you go through shields, you break through things, and you break through the boundaries of what people put up every day. It's like almost like you can see behind the mask to the true person behind it, to the pain, to their shadow, to their growth, to how they were hurt, ways they were driven to do certain actions. You are able to feel and sense that on an energetic level. We all have empathy, because science has even proven that we have what is called mirror neutrons in our brain that allow us to empathize and even mimic other people that are in our social groups and families and communities, so that we can be perceived as a part of the group or a part of the tribe. I believe the empath were the old shamans, the old healers. They saw a little bit deeper, a little bit further than what everybody else was able to perceive. So how do you strengthen this gift? And if you have built up walls, how do you protect yourself? Because it is difficult to be an empath and walk around always like a raw nerve and just picking up on everybody else's stuff. It's exhausting, and you end up walking around with a lot of burdens on your shoulders and a lot of issues that you deal with personally, because you carry around the burdens of everyone else. And it's funny that I say that, because recently I just had a case of the shingles, and it was on my neck right here on my shoulder, and if anybody knows about what energetically shingles means, is it means you're not comfortable in your own skin. And it also means that you are dealing with other people's emotions and stressors and not dealing with your own. And so it's very humbling to have dis-ease and illness, because it points you in the right direction of where you need to go and possibly take responsibility for your own inner work. And that it's been great that I was prepping to do this video, and it's wonderful to create this content that as I'm going through it, I'm getting answers from spirit that, you know, a week ago I was sitting there going, how am I going to do this video? It is so similar to Clairsentience, and I am an empath, but how do I explain this to people? And it's almost like trying to reverse the empathy and be like, I want to beam it into your brain so that I can have you understand what I'm trying to show to you. Is there a way to flip the switch so that you can feel what I'm feeling and understand what I'm understanding? Now that would be cool if we could do that. I think you can, but and I think that's what some of these videos are, is teaching others how to do what we do and teaching others how to control these gifts. And hello, this is my cat. This is Balthier. He wants to make an appearance. He just needs attention. Okay, so the best thing that you can do is, number one, have animals. No, actually, that's not exactly wrong. People that struggle with Clairempathy and that struggle with psychic gifts, they put up a lot of different shields around themselves, not just energetically, not just magically, but also physical barriers, such as moving different places, having animals, and surrounding themselves constantly with friends and all kinds of things like that. So if you feel yourself trying to put up barriers between people, you might want to ask yourself why. What are you not wanting to feel? What are you afraid of perceiving? What are you afraid of picking up? Are you afraid that your friends aren't real? Or are you afraid that they won't like the real you? Because remember, empathy is the ability to relate to others. So you can use your empathic gift to uncover who they truly are and understand people better. And hopefully you'll do better than me, because I have, a lot of the time, I have the ability to put my foot in my mouth. And so I will call people out on exactly what they're doing, on exactly who they are. And it's not the best thing to do, especially in social settings or with friends. There are gentler ways to go about it than just having word vomit. So you almost have to find an equilibrium of control and balance with these Clair gifts. Trust me, you're gonna make mistakes in the beginning. It's like learning to walk again. It's like learning to, you're almost an infant whenever you start learning these gifts, and you make silly mistakes. Luckily, I have had many friends and family and teachers that have been there to talk to me through these and tell me whenever I'm being a little crazy or whenever I'm being too insensitive, because I forget, and you get excited about picking up on people that you don't realize that you need to ask permission first of all, and before you dive into it. Because your friends don't, it's like being a therapist. Your friends don't want you to analyze them all the time, or they just want you to be your friend. So see the Clair gifts as a gift, and as a gift, you give the gift, and by them taking it, it is permission. So ask your friends and family before you start tapping into their energy. Don't just walk around like a raw nerve hurting people. It's not the best thing to do, and you will definitely not get good results if you do that. You'll get accurate ones, but it's going to leave you very lonely, because people want to it's almost like you broke trust with them. And so you should be very sensitive to other people's walls, because that's the whole point of empathy, is they have these walls and they hide these things from themselves because it's hard to deal with, because they're not ready to process it. So if spirit is bringing it up for you to talk to, it means that they are very close to needing to process that information, or maybe they need to heal from a disease, or maybe they need to do it to get to a different pattern or a different level of understanding, or even if they just need to break away and let go. Sometimes Clairempathy just brings it up so that it can be released. So how do you protect yourself as a Clairempath? That's the first thing I think we need to talk about, because we have walls. And we do all the other things where we do the pets and the hiding behind masks and hiding behind walls and defenses and all these things. But how do you protect yourself from picking up other people's emotions? How do you how do you use consent for yourself? That you can only use this gift when you want to. So a wonderful way that I have learned to do it is imagine yourself like you are Glinda the Good from The Wizard of Oz, and there is a bubble around you. If you want to imagine it's pink, that's totally cool. I like to imagine it as a mirror, and so that whenever it's a mirror, it reflects back what is being sent to you. So whenever when you're wearing a shield that has a mirror, you are still using your empathic gifts because it's reflecting back to the person what they see. So it's like that thing that, your perception of me is but a reflection of you. I put that intent into the mirror. That way, spirit shows them what they need, and I'm not doing anything. It's just me, and the bubble is taking care of all of the gifts. Okay, so that's one way to do it. You can also create it pink or green or any other different chakra color to correlate with how you're feeling that day. If you need a boost in energy, I would definitely make an oranger shield. If you want to be more intuitive and heart connected, I would do green, like my shirt today. Or if you want it to be more perceptive or thoughtful, blue is great, or even indigo. And if you want it to be all of these things, you would do a white shield, because white is actually all 7 of the colors. So then you allow all of those colors to come out. So that is a great way to protect yourself. Now, the exercise that I want to talk about goes back to that picture of the inner child, because I think this is the perfect methodology to learn how to be empathic, is look at it without any of the structures you have built in your mind, without any of the prejudices, without any of the walls. It is an innocent kind of perspective of how other people are feeling. So today we're going to tap into our inner child. So what you do is you want to sit down for a few minutes, and then I like to, and I don't know if everybody else does this, I like to pick music that I had from whenever I was a kid. So I would go and find like some hymns that I like to use to sing, or just something soft. You could if you wanted to do ecstatic, but don't pick anything out too loud and crazy that would like pull you out of your vision. So what you do is you sit down in meditation and you just start meditating. But I always like to do a guided meditation, because that gives my ego something to do, and it really allows spirit to really speak to me with intent. So I go in there, and then I do my countdown from 12 to 1, and then I walk through the corridor that brings me to my inner world. And then you want to tap into your inner child. So you stand on the crossroads and you create like a bench or an area where you can meet, or a meeting room, or even a new room, and you have your inner child come and talk to you. And so then you speak with your inner child, and you allow them to remind you who you truly were, who you truly are, excuse me, on the inside, before you became the adult that you are, what you were, your true essence. Because whenever you're using clear empathy, that is what you pick up on, things that have affected people's clear essence. So once you've sat down with your inner child, you just talk to them, you visit with them, and then you ask that they will help you perceive other people's inner child. Because that is what you are really tapping into whenever you're using your Clairempathy gifts. And it also helps you understand deep soul wounds, disease, and different things like that. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment down below, hit like and share if you like this, and please subscribe so that and hit that bell notification so that you get notifications anytime my videos come up, because they come out sporadically on Thursday and I want you to know when they're coming out. Next week we're going to be talking about the ability of Clairalience, which is the ability of clear smelling. So stay tuned, and I look forward to talking to you next week. Don't forget, as you raise your vibe and you learn more and more about who you are, you tap into your inner child and you take away all these layers, you become the true spiritual being that you are supposed to be. And as you raise your vibe, you heal the tribe. Blessings, everybody. Bye.